Yo, what's going on, everybody? Josh Byrne, the New York sports fan, and today was announced that Corey Davis, wide receiver standout for the New York Jets, has decided to retire. And man, this has big implications on the team, no doubt about it. There's really no way of sugarcoating it. Corey Davis was slated to be a prominent player on this New York Jets offense. And not only that, this was not expected at all. This is a guy who came into this season projected to have an absolutely amazing season. You have Aaron Rodgers coming over, you have a new offense, you have everything that is put in place for Corey Davis to finally break out. And we've seen through his first 2 years that he's been a really talented receiver. He's got a large body, he's got exceptional speed, and this was a shocker. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts. This was an absolute shocker. There's really no one who saw this coming. A few days ago, it was reported that Corey Davis was missing camp for some personal matter. And now we know what it was, and that he was contemplating retirement. And, a lot of times, most times when guys retire from sports, it's because they can't get the job done anymore. And that's flat out not the case with Corey Davis. Because the guy, even though in some people's eyes he may have been a bit underwhelming his first 2 years in New York, the fact is he's still a productive NFL player. And he's still only 28. So there's no doubt in my mind that if he were to play this full season, he would be a really solid asset to the team. He would perhaps be the number 2 guy for Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sure there would be some games, a game or two here and there, where he'd probably be the top target, perhaps, for Aaron Rodgers. So this is completely unexpected, and I wish Corey Davis the absolute best. He was a solid Jet. We've seen the Jets strike out on quite a few free agent signings over the years, but for what they paid him, just over $10 million a year, I think Corey Davis had his really high moments, and he had some tough moments where he couldn't stay healthy or he went quiet for a couple games. But overall, he's a really solid player, and from everything I've seen and heard, he seems like a quality dude overall. So no doubt about it, wishing him the best for the future. But this definitely does leave the Jets in a bit of an unfortunate situation, because with the season starting in just over 2 weeks, they're left without a definitive number 2 option. We know they have Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson is uber talented. He's going to easily be the number 1 receiver on this team. He might be a top 5 receiver in the NFL. He certainly has that capability this year working with Aaron Rodgers. But outside of that, who's going to be number 2? Is it going to be Allen Lazard? I mean, it might be, and Allen Lazard was really good last year, but throughout his NFL career, he's been better known for his blocking. He hasn't been the kind of guy to go out and grab 8 catches a game and go for 1,000 yards every season. I mean, last year he had just over 600 yards receiving. They also brought in Randall Cobb, a guy who's worked with Aaron Rodgers for a long time, a guy who's put up huge numbers in the NFL, but also a guy who's now 32 and shouldn't really be expected to go out there and put up a 1,000-yard season, even though he is back with Aaron Rodgers. So, honestly, I look at this wide receiver room, and if I had to suspect who the number 1 or who the number 2 target is right now, it's probably Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman, he hasn't been a top commodity for a super long time in the NFL, but last year, working with Patrick Mahomes, a year in which they were without Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs needed to replace that star power, and Mecole Hardman, though he isn't Tyreek Hill, he certainly made his presence known and had some absolutely fantastic games. His speed caught everyone's attention, and if you're the Jets, you gotta hope that he can establish himself as a number 2 option, or possibly as a solid 3rd option. But the fact is, it still is a major loss for the Jets. You don't want to focus solely on the implications for the team, because this is an individual, this is a human being, and he has every right to step out. Football, we know, is a dangerous game, and he's looking out for himself and his family, I am sure. But the Jets might need to do something here. The other noteworthy thing about this retirement is that $10.5 million that was owed to Corey Davis is now off the books. So while it definitely hurts the overall roster that Corey Davis is now gone, there's no reason to believe the Jets can't go out and try to do something to help the team, whether that's adding another receiver to take Corey Davis's place, or heck, maybe they try to go out and spend money on another position. We know the offensive line has been a question mark. There are some veterans out there like Jason Peters, who's probably not in a position to start, but there's certainly ways that this team can be improved upon. And with that $10.5 million, it certainly becomes more possible and more likely that Joe Douglas is going to go out there and at least make some other kind of move. But at the end of the day, this caught me by absolute surprise, and I wish Corey Davis the best. He was a solid Jet. He was a very good player. But the Jets are going to need to ask themselves, are they comfortable with their wide receiver room without Corey Davis? Or is it time for them to be aggressive in an all-or-nothing year, really, and try to replenish that wide receiver room? Let me know what you think. And as always, folks, all the love.